sodomizing Palestinian detainees who are charged with no crimes whatsoever, putting hot rods up their rectums, amputating their limbs, according to CNN.
Watch how Mehdi Hasan absolutely destroys this MAGA nut, Eylon Levy. It's going to be fun.
In response, Israel's actions are to target Hamas's terrorists and to take unprecedented efforts to keep their civilians safe from their own leader's sick strategy to sacrifice them on the altar of jihad. That's why it keeps repeatedly urging them to get out of harm's way from Hamas strongholds and flooding the area with over 1 million tons of aid, because it keeps saying this is a war against Hamas, not the people of Gaza. Now, the suffering of my neighbors in Gaza is horrific. I blame their psychopath leaders for launching this war, fighting it inside civilian areas, and refusing to release the hostages and surrender. Now, tonight's debate is about whether Israel's actions in the war in Gaza are justified, in a context in which I hope we can all agree none of the enemy's actions are justified. Because we are fighting a jihadist army that has as much respect for humanity and law as Mehdi Hasan has for the truth. Mehdi may say, I condemn Hamas's acts on October 7th, but he will not condemn its strategy, because he is part of its strategy. Hamas is counting on its defense attorney to shield it from the consequences of the war that it started and deflect blame onto Israel so it can do October 7th again, maybe because they share a goal that Israel shouldn't exist. Mehdi Hasan will say tonight that October 7th does not justify Israel's actions in this horrible war. My question then is this.
Eylon, I'm sorry, your time is up.
What does October 7th?
I'm sorry, your time is up. Thank you. Mehdi? Eylon, in already calling your opponent a liar, you have already crossed one of the lines of the culture that we try to establish here. I wish you hadn't.
I don't mind. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I can do that.
You don't need to do that to make your case.
Did you see that? Eylon didn't even try to lead with an argument. He just went straight for the throat, calling Mehdi a liar and basically a Hamas spokesperson. It's wild. Even the moderator had to tell him he crossed a line immediately. I mean, when your first move is just attacking the guy's character like that, it's just cheap. It's incredibly desperate. He has nothing else to say. Levy is basically arguing that Mehdi Hasan is acting as a defense attorney for Hamas, accusing him of sharing the goal that Israel should not exist, and claiming that Hasan is part of Hamas's strategy to deflect blame so the group can commit attacks like those on October 7th. Again, let's see how Mehdi Hasan destroys this guy.
Mehdi Hasan, you are answering no in answer to the question, were Israel's actions in the Gaza war justified?
All right, so, ladies and gentlemen, the question, were they justified? Were the actions justified?
And it would be great if you didn't feel the need to respond to the personal attack, because it'll waste
We'll
time.
decide when we get there, John. Were they justified? No, obviously not. Of course not. October the 7th, I think we can all agree, was a crime, a war crime, right? We can all agree on that. And taking hostages is a war crime. And those hostages should be released. But to destroy an entire place, an entire people in response is never justified. Never justified. How are we still I don't understand how we're debating this more than 40,000 deaths later. I don't understand how we're still debating this sitting in the comfort of New York, 7,000 miles away from a place that the UN Secretary General has called hell on earth. Justified? Justified? Was Israel justified in carrying out one of the most intense civilian punishment campaigns in history, according to Dr. Robert Pape at the University of Chicago, dropping 500-pound bombs, 1,000-pound bombs, 2,000-pound bombs on schools, hospitals, universities, bookstores, libraries, mosques, churches, refugee camps, apartment buildings, cemeteries, destroying a higher percentage of buildings in northern Gaza than the Allies destroyed in Dresden during World War II, reducing Gaza to 42 million tons of rubble while they got people out of the way? How is that justified? Dropping a bomb, for example, on a 6-story apartment building in central Gaza last October, killing more than 100 people inside, including more than 50 children, with no Hamas target in sight, according to Human Rights Watch, with no explanation offered by the Israeli military. Even till today, was that justified, Eylon? Was Israel justified in telling people to go to safe zones and then bombing them and killing them in those safe zones? According to NBC, there were 7 deadly airstrikes between January and April in areas that the Israeli military had specifically designated as safe zones, killing Palestinian civilians like Sabrine Sakani, who was 30 weeks pregnant at the time. She was killed in a safe zone in April, her little baby, newborn.
I mean, how do you listen to that? How do you actually sit there and listen to him list off these things? Schools, hospitals, bookstores, cemeteries, for God's sake, and not just feel sick? Mehdi is laying it out so clearly. He's not even playing favorites here. He's saying October 7th was a war crime, full stop. But then he looks at the response. You've got 2,000-pound bombs dropping on apartment buildings with 50 kids inside and no target in sight. No target. Even the IDF hasn't explained some of this stuff. It's the safe zones that get me. You tell people, go here to be safe, they go there, and then you bomb them anyway? That's not a war strategy, that's just cruelty. And you see the people on the other side of the table and they just look numb, like it's just background noise or a statistic. I don't understand how we're still debating this from the comfort of a studio in New York while Gaza is literally being turned into 42 million tons of rubble. There is no justification for that. There just isn't. At a certain point, you have to stop looking for excuses and just look at the bodies. It's indefensible.
Less than a week later, was that justified too, Eylon? Was Israel justified in killing a record number of kids in Gaza, 16,000 children, turning Gaza into what the UN has called a graveyard for children, according to Save the Children, killing more kids in the first 3 weeks that were killed globally in each of the past 4 years, killing little kids like 6-year-old Hind Rajab and her 15-year-old sister Leanne, firing 335 bullets into the car they were in. 335 bullets. And then killing the 2 paramedics who went to try and rescue them. Was that justified too, Eylon? Was Israel justified in killing a record number of aid workers in Gaza? Right? A record number. Targeting again and again, systematically, car by car, according to Chef Jose Andres. A specifically, explicitly marked World Central Kitchen aid convoy killing 7 aid workers in the process. Was that justified? Was Israel justified in starving the people of Gaza, using food and water as a weapon of war, to quote both the EU and Oxfam? Was Israel justified in blocking aid trucks from going into Gaza simply because they carry things like crutches, nail clippers, and even chocolate croissants, according to the Washington Post? Was Israel justified in raping, sodomizing Palestinian detainees who were charged with no crimes whatsoever? Putting hot rods up their rectums. Amputating their limbs, according to CNN and the New York Times. Was that rape and torture justified, Eylon? Israel, according to the ICC chief prosecutor, who put out a statement calling for the arrest of Eylon's former boss, Benjamin Netanyahu, said that Israel may have military goals, legitimate goals, but the way they're carried out, killing innocent people, starving people, is criminal, he said. Criminal, think about that. Eylon Levy is a former spokesperson for a man who the ICC chief prosecutor once arrested for war crimes. Eylon himself has produced a number of lies, sorry John, in service of those war crimes. He has a bunch of tweets still up tonight which say that babies were beheaded on October the 7th, babies were baked in ovens, babies were ripped from their mother's wombs. October 7th was bad enough, but Eylon had to exaggerate it for atrocity purposes. Those tweets are still up. Why would you trust anything this man says to you tonight? Look, he's here.
The thing I really want to give Mehdi Hasan his flowers for here is just, he's not playing. He's not doing the both sides dance. He basically just looks at Eylon and says, look, we know October 7th was horrific, but what are we even doing? 16,000 kids dead? 335 bullets into a single car with a 6-year-old girl inside? I mean, come on. How do you sit there and justify that? You're blocking chocolate croissants and crutches from getting to people who are starving. That's not a military strategy. That's just being cruel. It's just mean. And then the bit about the tweets. That's the real kicker for me. Mehdi points out that Eylon still has these posts up about babies in ovens, stuff that just wasn't true, and he won't take them down. Why? Because it's not about the truth for him. It's about the spin. It's about the job. You can't have a real debate with someone who's just there to be a spokesperson for war crimes. You just can't. One guy is talking about actual human beings dying, and the other is he's just doing PR. It's gross.
He's here to gaslight you, to defend the indefensible, to excuse the inexcusable, to justify the unjustifiable, but you don't need to. Tonight you can choose to be on the side not of cruelty, not of criminality, but on the side of the innocent people of Gaza who are being killed as we speak tonight, as we speak, by Eylon's former colleagues in the Israeli military on the orders of Eylon's former bosses in the Israeli government. So yes, I choose to oppose this horrific and homicidal motion. Thank you.
I mean, honestly, what else is there to say after that? Mehdi just took the entire "it's complicated" excuse and threw it out the window. It's not complicated. It's really not. People love to sit there and act like this is some high-level chess match where you have to be a genius to understand the nuance. But no, when you have innocent people in Gaza, kids, families, literally being killed while these guys are standing on a stage debating, the nuance kind of disappears, doesn't it? He's calling out Eylon Levy's former bosses and the military, and he's doing it to his face. It's brutal, because it's true. You can try to dress it up with fancy political language or talk about motions all you want, but at the end of the day, you're either okay with this level of cruelty or you aren't. I loved how he framed it as choosing a side, not a political side, but just the side of people not dying. Like, how is that even a debate? It feels so basic when you strip away all the gaslighting. Just a massive, blunt reality check.